Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Community Links, where service meets students. I'm Caitlin Pajus.
And I'm Alyssa McFadden. On today's episode, we're going to be hearing from two of Blackfeet Montana's co-coordinators, Jen Grassmeter and Rachel Pysick.
And later on, we're going to talk with Meredith Baylitz from Neighbor to Neighbor.
So without further ado, we're here with Rachel and Jen. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
We really appreciate it.
So are you guys getting excited? Is your trip a summer or spring trip?
It's a summer trip. We leave right after school ends and then we get back before graduation.
Okay, so you still have a little bit more time, but the semester is starting to speed up a little bit with tests coming and everything. So how are you guys in the preparation stages? How far along are you guys going?
Well, we booked our flights, which is like really exciting. Now we're like really going, and so that's exciting. We have had our staff coordinator come in and meet the group, so that's also exciting, trying to like get a new person involved, so it's also good. There's a lot going on, but it'll be fun.
I'm sure it gets busy being co-coordinators. How did you guys come to have these roles? Did you do it last year? Is this your first year? Because I know you guys are both sophomores.
Well, we went on the trip last year. We applied and then we got on. So then we went on the trip, and then at the end of the trip, Anna and Brianna were our coordinators last year, and they told the whole group that if you were interested in becoming a coordinator, you'd have to apply. So over the summer, we filled out our applications, and then Jen and I were chosen. And
That's
now,
awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to go back to their service trip wherever they go because they have such good memories there.
Yeah, it was a great time last year.
Yeah, it had to have been to want to feel so strongly about it to coordinate. So would you like to tell us a little bit about the work that you do in Montana and maybe how it left a lasting impression on the people that you're helping or even yourselves?
So we go into Browning, Montana on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation, and we go to the De La Salle Blackfeet School, which is a 4th through 8th grade school. It's a private school, Christian Brothers school, and it's 10 people on the trip plus our adult staff leader, so that's 11. And so there's 2 students per grade that we just go in and we kind of do whatever the teacher tells us to do during the day. If we might be working one-on-one with a kid for like an hour, we might be working kind of with the whole class, we might be just sitting back at some points. There were times where like the principal asked us to just do random tasks throughout the school, so we kind of just did whatever was needed for them. It was really great bonding with the kids.
Yeah, Jen and I were both in 4th grade, so the kids were really great at the end of the week, but the first day was definitely a culture shock. They have students coming in almost weekly, so they're kind of used to us, and they like to test us out a little bit, see, like, I don't know, they just
Like to pull some antics.
Yeah.
Like Rachel and I were very much like good cop, bad cop, because like they would like pick on her because she's like basically the same height as them, and then I'm like the bad cop, like coming in like a little bit of discipline, but like it was fun, and like they all like learned to love us and like respect us by the end of the week. But the first day they're definitely like, okay, what can I get away with?
Absolutely.
From these 2 girls.
Yeah, but then on the second day we went on a retreat. It was like near the end of the school year, so they had kind of a retreat /
Like field trip.
And we got to play with them like in their natural habitat. Like they were asking us to play baseball with them, tag, a whole bunch of games. So instead of us forcing them to be like, hey, you need to read this book, they're happier to be hanging out with us. And then that's when we really got close. And then by the end of the trip, they all lined up and hugged us, and we made cards for them. And this one girl, Dominique, she was so sweet, and she was just like, oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. Like, it was just a really great experience, and yeah, I'm
That's
excited
something to take home.
Yeah,
A lot of them were like, oh, hey, I really hope we see you next year. Like, can't wait to see you in a year. And like, I know personally, like that was part of the reason I applied to be coordinator, because like I don't want to let them down.
Yeah, you definitely want to go back and keep those connections that you make. A lot of times people that we have on here from different on-campus groups or kind of in the city off-campus stuff, they talk a lot about connection and how important connection is. Do you guys think that even though you're only there for a week, how do you guys feel about the connections that you make there if you don't get to go back, or like some other people who may have applied and didn't get picked to be on the trip?
Do you want me to go? I feel like it was really important to kind of get to know each of the kids one-on-one when we were there. Like, even the really shy kid who's not going to come up to you and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Like, it's still important to, like, get to know each kid because each of them has their own story. And I know, like, we are only there for a week and it is really hard, but it kind of brings some sort of comfort to know that they have people coming in every week and to know that, like, maybe if you didn't really bond with this one kid, maybe they bonded last week with someone. And, like, I kind of, like, have hope that, like, no matter what, like, there's good from this whole program, not just, like, our 1 week of being there.
Yeah. And one thing I'm really curious about is neither of you are education majors. So what is that like going in there as almost a teacher's assistant or student teacher? And does that kind of make you want to change your major? You kind of fall in love with teaching the kids and having them fall in love with different subjects, or is it just kind of like a fun pastime?
Go ahead.
Well, I don't want to switch my major, but when I was there, I had a new appreciation for education and those who are education majors. I also, with LaSalle and like LaSallian schools, you can do the 2-year after you graduate and go to different sites and work with them and do service. So I was thinking about that after that trip because I know there's a lot of people, the teachers there, they're mainly volunteers or and they stay there for a max of 5 years for the most part, but it's mainly 2. So there's not a lot of stability for the kids, but I think that it's still, it's good that the school exists and that they have people that are trying to look out for them. So I think that I'd be interested in doing something like that and volunteering there for a little bit.
I personally, I love the whole idea of education. Like, I think every kid should have like the best opportunities for education. My mom is a first grade teacher, has been for my whole life. And so I've seen the whole education system like in like Pennsylvania suburbs, so seeing it in like a whole different culture was amazing. And like I don't want to be a teacher because of it, but it just brings so much like respect for what they do. Like the teacher we were with in 4th grade was absolutely incredible. Like, I don't know how she got so much respect from these kids who were just crazy and all over the place. But it was great, like the whole education that they like made the school there and like everything, so much respect for it.
Absolutely. I know that Caitlin and I can understand you guys a little bit because we did both go to Kentucky last summer. So we understand the kind of the memories that you have and the longing to go back, I should say. Do you guys think that when you go back, are you looking to get a different experience, or what do you want to kind of set goals for yourself that are different from the first time that you went, kind of things along that line?
I feel like it'll be different because I kind of figured out kind of halfway through the trip, like I think I wanted to apply to be coordinator and like had hopes of getting it. But now like I know that this is gonna be it. Like I can't be coordinator again, I can't go back again. And so I think it's just gonna be a matter of perspective and trying to like really do something that made it like worthwhile the past like 2 years. I don't know what that is yet, but something.
But you'll figure it out.
Yeah, hopefully.
Definitely. How about you, Rach?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just don't think that I can ever experience the same exact thing again. And I had a really, really good experience last year. So I'm trying not to set expectations for myself because I don't want to go in there and then have a really good experience and then compare this year with last year and just like put the two against each other. So it's different people on the trip. We'll be working with different kids for the most part. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you have 10 people going with you this year. How's that group dynamic working out? It has to be very trying to pick out a group of people who you think are just different enough so that you can have a nice like variety of people, but have something in common enough so that like somewhere along the line the groups like they click. How did that work out? Like, because I know it's over now, so I can say I think that's a lot of pressure picking the people. Yeah. I wouldn't tell you that before because that would it might have added to that extra weight of pressure, but I think that would be one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, definitely interviewing all the people that applied. It was really, really hard. We tried to do like a grading type system, but then so many people were so great, so we like I can't even like express how difficult it was to like pick the people, because also like we had applications on paper and then interviews in person, and some people were so different on paper versus in person, and that added a whole nother dynamic. But the people we ended up with, they're great. They all like each other a lot. It's hard in meetings sometimes to be like, okay, let's get down to like business now, because everyone's like chatting and everything, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
And so yeah, it all worked out, but it was hard.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. We had all good applicants. Like everyone that applies and is really interested is worthy of going. It's just really hard picking 10 people, 8 people.
Yeah, 8 people.
And as you guys mentioned, this will be your last year that you can go on the Blackfeet Montana trip. Do you have your eyes set out for a different trip you're looking forward to going on? I mean, I know we're like trying to live in the present, enjoy this trip this year. We don't want to look too far ahead, but do you have any trips in mind that you're like, oh, that one looks interesting, or I had friends who went on that one and it seemed like a good time? Haven't thought about it yet?
No, I can't do one next year because I'll be abroad, but maybe senior year, I might try to do Camden.
Okay, nice.
They all seem really interesting for like different reasons, but potentially going to Kenya would be like a dream, but
That sounds like
far in
fun.
the future. They take a really small group, so.
Well, good luck to you guys with that.
Thank you.
So we only have about 30 seconds left, but we always like to ask people when they come on the show, if you could describe your trip with a song, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
And it could be like the past trip, this trip combined, maybe like the feeling that the trip embodies in itself. Like it doesn't have to be like a specific moment.
Of course, nothing is coming to my head.
You're like, what is the song?
Yeah.
You know what? How about stay tuned?
We'll
And
get back to you.
it'll be a surprise for all the people that get to go on the trip.
Yeah.
They can help pick it. All right, well, thanks so much, guys, for joining
Thanks
us
for
today.
having us.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and stick around because after this short commercial break, we'll be back to talk to Meredith about Neighbor to Neighbor.
Please follow me. You know where my next class is.
%31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
You are now watching LaSalle TV.
Welcome back to Community Links, the show that brings service to you. We're here with Meredith Ballets to represent Neighbor to Neighbor as a coordinator. So, hi Meredith, how are you doing?
Welcome.
Good.
Thank you for coming down. This is your first time in the comm center, so I've heard.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm not down in the comm center very much. I'm usually in Benilde for speech.
For speech. Well, we're very happy to have you here today.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Well,
Let's start off.
I don't really know much about Neighbor to Neighbor, so if you want, you can give us a little lowdown on that.
Okay, it's a community service group that's a weekly thing. It's under the umbrella of focus groups. So Neighbor to Neighbor is every Saturday, 10:30 to 2. We go out into the neighborhood and help people, usually the elderly or people who can't take care of their own yard work, maybe like little household chores, like they need to have a bathroom repainted or take some old wallpaper off. I know last semester we spent a good amount of time at a lady's house on Lambert Street because her son was getting ready to move back into her house and he needed his bedroom painted and they were converting their basement into his room. So it's like another great way to get involved in service for one of the LaSallian values without having to go on a service trip.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
you've been involved in this for all 3 years here at LaSalle, or did you just get involved recently?
I have participated in Neighbor to Neighbor since I was a freshman and I started coordinating in the spring of last year.
Wow, okay. So you kind of like dove right in.
Yeah, sure, I guess so.
You're like, I guess. And how has because we all went on Appalachia together, fun fact, how has your roofing experiences in Harlan County, Kentucky helped you?
If any.
If it has? I mean,
We don't really do roofing.
You don't do
at
any-
all.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect.
well, maybe. They could. They put
No.
us on a roof. They
Down
could
on
put
Lambert
Neighbor to
Street, you're
Neighbor.
on a roof. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
I mean,
I
from the first trip
underestimated
we
you guys, I'm sorry.
painting skills, that's
Painting
good.
skills.
Yeah.
Got you.
Not too much roofing though.
But like the work ethic, definitely.
Definitely. It's nice too because you never know who's going to sign up for that week. So it's always a different group of people. I mean, you'll still have a few like standard people who come, and then you get to meet some new faces, new people, and see how they work together. It's great. Also, you get to interact with a bunch of different people in the neighborhood and hear their stories. Like this one man was an art teacher, and he could tell us all about all these books and paintings he had in his house when we were like helping him sort through and try to organize his one room.
That's really cool. So a lot of people who do service at LaSalle, I feel like that's kind of a normal thing for students to do here. What drew you to Neighbor? How did you first get involved with them?
I just remember walking through the activities fair and I was just, sort of doing the typical freshman move where you just sign up for like a whole bunch of stuff and then you
get a
figure
lot
out,
of emails.
yeah, and then you figure out what you like. I like Neighbor to Neighbor a lot because it's pretty like non-committal as a member. You don't have to go every single Saturday. It's like make it when you can. As a coordinator, you try to go obviously to everyone. But it's a great program and doesn't take up that much time of your day. Like I'm not going to be doing homework on Saturday really unless I absolutely have to. So it's a nice break from schoolwork too.
That's true.
Absolutely. And have you made a lot of friends through it too?
Yeah, it's nice. I spend a lot of my day with the same 20 people because communication sciences and disorders is a very small program. So it's nice to meet some other people too.
That's good to hear.
True, very true. So on a daily trip, or no, I shouldn't say daily, a weekly trip, how would you organize everyone? How do you transport everyone, and do you assign different jobs to people, or is it kind of just you show up and you see what they need help with?
Well, usually we'll either get a call in to UMass or we'll get an email from a person who either knows of a person who needs help or they themselves require some sort of help, and they'll usually be like, hey, this is our phone number. Sometimes they'll tell you what you need, sometimes you have to call and ask, hey, what do you want us to do? For the most part, it's especially in the fall, a lot of garden work, raking leaves, that sort of stuff. And then in the winter, we try to save painting, clean outs for that, so you don't have to be outside. Mm-hmm. And then depending on the project, we usually send out an email on Wednesdays, and they'll be like, hey, we have a project this Saturday, meet us in UMass at 10:30. We're going to so-and-so's house, and we're going to be painting, so dress appropriately. And then pretty much we just wait for people to email us back, and then we write down their names, and then hopefully we see them Saturday. Sometimes we don't. But yeah, other than that, it's not too much of a trouble to coordinate. We can pick up the vans from the office near payroll, and then just have to return them.
Absolutely, great.
And you mostly visit houses that are around this area, like you mentioned Lambert, and are most of them near the LaSalle University main campus, or how far do you usually travel for these jobs?
The farthest we've ever gone is to South Philly, and that's pretty rare. But we usually try to stay in like the Logan, like Ogontz, Worcester neighborhood, just because it's supposed to be like really local. But I mean, the lady we help in South Philly is great too. Like, it's just like easier sometimes to get to the local people too, especially if there's like park cleanup that's like on Ogontz. It's a lot easier because then it's like, oh, like they recognize you're from LaSalle and they know where that is, so it's nice.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting how LaSalle interacts with the community. We had Matt Meffy on here from AIDS Outreach, so it's kind of, we're trying to become as involved as we can into the neighborhoods surrounding LaSalle, to say we're not only a university, we don't stand alone, we're trying to work with other people. How has your interaction with Neighbor to Neighbor shaped your LaSalle experience? Do you think that it's a huge part of the way you see things, or your service opportunities, maybe why you may have wanted to go to Kentucky, if you just want to talk a little bit about that?
I have to say it's really been a positive influence, because it's just nice to hear like other people's stories from the community. Like for instance, again, the woman on Lambert has lived there since at least like the late 80s and early 90s. So she sort of was like telling us one day about how she's like recognized how the neighborhood's slowly changing, and how she really enjoys the idea and appreciates the idea of LaSalle trying to give back and like help people in the community, because she said it's really all about like community bonds and stuff, and it shouldn't just be like LaSalle and then people who live near LaSalle. So she really appreciates that, and she knows like some neighbors don't really like it just because of the bad rep of like the few college houses that are like party houses. But she said honestly, for the most part, there's not that many problems. But she does say that a lot of houses need work just because people don't take as much pride in their house anymore. So she like wishes that people would sort of restore that, and she thinks that'll probably happen soon. And just, it's nice to hear like other people's stories too, about like life, or like random like art history stuff. Another woman told us about how she moved here and then moved to New York and then ended up coming back here, and she just couldn't leave the city because she loved it so much.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. I know, I love hearing stuff about people appreciating the places where they lived, even if she left for a little bit to get a new experience. It's, I don't know, I feel like you always try and come home, and I feel like LaSalle's home for a lot of people, even if it's not their permanent home. But
yeah, and it is nice to hear how at least someone in the community is appreciating us trying to make waves and kind of extend our open arms on tours. A lot of time I do mention Neighbor to Neighbor, so this is great that I have now I have more of a background of what to tell people and prospective students of what they could possibly join when they come here. But I definitely do mention how it is a chance for them, if they don't want to go away on a service trip, to do service in this area and to create a tie with the community. So you're doing great work here, Meredith. Great work.
You get breakfast too, so positive.
Food is always the
a good
biggest
thing,
motivator.
so you don't need to swipe for breakfast.
That's really good to know.
How would someone go about signing up for Neighbor to Neighbor?
You can email the Gmail at n2neighbor@gmail.com. That's the best way. Or you can also shoot an email through UMass, and they would probably forward it to us, and we can add you to our weekly email list.
Okay, and we'll definitely put N2
neighbor.
Okay.
Like the number 2.
Awesome. We'll definitely put that on our Twitter so that more people can join for you guys.
Yeah.
And you're
good.
constantly getting people to join or do you usually just get a big flood at like the activities fair?
It's usually with the activities fair at the beginning of like the semesters, but you never know. There's like sometimes a couple people throughout the semester be like, oh hey, I heard about this program. I'm interested in seeing what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So.
All right. You said that you have a fun,
I
surprising
do.
question
I hope it's
for
fun,
Meredith.
fun and surprising. So, after a long day at work on someone's house, what is a snack that you and your fellow neighbor to neighbor group like to sit down with and enjoy? Is it a different type of candy or what's a
Or you
food?
personally?
Well, personally, we just drop. I usually am like, oh hey, who wants to go to B&G for lunch? And everyone's like me, and then you just kind of drive them up there. Personally, I bring like Welch's fruit snacks along because they're just great. It's like the inner kindergartner of me.
Inner kindergartner of everyone. Everyone loves.
They're a
fruit
good
snacks.
pick me up.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And it might keep you going the rest of the day, you know?
Well, probably not on those alone, but yes.
Yeah, just fruit snacks. It'll be really, really great. So we're about to wrap up for this segment. We have about a minute. But if you had to motivate a freshman to come sign up to Neighbor, what's something that you would want them to have in mind showing up?
I think I would just say it's a great way to like interact with people of all grade levels. It's a nice, easy way to get some community service, give back to people, and I don't know, it's just a great experience. We've never had any problems with any neighbors, so really it's nice. You can come whenever you want to.
Great. All right, well, come on out to Neighbor then.
Yeah, thank you so much to Rachel and Jen from Blackfeet Montana for joining us, and Meredith from Neighbor to Neighbor. That does it for this episode of Community Links.
You can follow us on Twitter, our LaSalle TV Twitter, and also our Community Links Twitter. We would love to hear back from you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, and keep looking for that place on campus where you can do some service.